The Sad Night. It was a warm, sunny summer day in Sherwood Forest. There was plenty of food, but the merry men needed gold. Gold paid for cloth of forest green. Gold paid for metal arrow tips. This is how Robin Hood and his men got gold. They would hide in the forest and wait until a very rich-looking stranger passed. Then the men would leap out and stop them. They were always very polite. They would bid the stranger good day and ask his name. Then they would invite him to be their guest for supper. The stranger would be fed and entertained in fine style. In fact, the stranger usually hated to say goodbye. Then the merry men would demand payment for the meal, preferably in gold. Did Robin Hood and the men keep all the gold for themselves? Never. They gave at least half to the poor. For this, they were famous. Hated by the rich, but loved by the poor. On this summer day, Robin Hood and Little John went looking for guests and gold. Robin went one way, Little John went another. Soon, Robin saw a stranger. A knight. He was dressed well, but he wore no gold, and his head hung low as he rode. "Stop, friend," said Robin. "Who are you?" the knight asked. "What a good question," Robin laughed. "Some call me kind, others call me cruel. Some call me honest, others call me thief. You may call me Robin Hood." He bowed low. The knight smiled. "I hear good things about you," he said. "Then come be my guest at supper tonight," Robin said cheerily. "I would not hear of putting you out," said the knight. "Not at all," said Robin, "for you will pay your way, believe me." "Not this guest," said the knight. He held out an empty purse. "Put your purse away," Robin said. "We will feed you anyway, for free, and try to cheer you up too." Robin led the knight's horse toward the hideout. "What is your name?" "Sir Richard of Lancaster," said the knight. "And why are you so unhappy, Sir Richard of Lancaster?" Robin asked. The knight told him. Last spring, the knight's son had been in his first joust. He had ridden against a great knight, Sir Walter of Fordham. By accident, his son's lance slipped and killed Sir Walter. Sir Walter was a man with powerful friends. They demanded that Sir Richard's son go to prison. Sir Richard had to pay in gold to keep his son out of prison. He did not have enough gold, and so he had been forced to borrow. Now he could not pay it back. "How much do you owe?" Robin asked. 400 pieces of gold," said Sir Richard. "If I do not pay it back by Monday, I will lose everything, my castle and all my lands." By this time, they arrived at the hideout. Little John had brought a guest too. And who do you think his guest was? The bishop, the very man who had given Fair Ellen his golden chain on her wedding day. This time he had 4 horses loaded with bags. What was in those bags? The bishop stormed over to Robin. "See here, how dare you let this man speak to me in such a way?" The bishop pointed to Little John. Robin Hood winked at Little John. "How was it he spoke to you?" he asked the bishop. "He called me a fat priest." Robin Hood pretended to be shocked. "You don't say. He called me a man-eating bishop." "No," Robin exclaimed. "And he called me a grubby moneylender." Little John hung his head like a naughty boy, a very big naughty boy. Robin turned to Little John and said sternly, "Is this true? Did you call his lordship a fat priest?" "I did," Little John answered. "And a man-eating bishop?" "Yes," said Little John. "And a grubby moneylender?" "I'm afraid so," said Little John. Robin turned back to the bishop. He shrugged. "Then I guess that's what you are, for I've never heard Little John tell a lie." The merry men roared with laughter. The bishop nearly choked with rage. Now then," said Robin, "our guests must learn to take jokes. Come and meet your fellow guest, Sir Richard of Lancaster." "If I did not know better," said the bishop of Sir Richard to Sir Richard, "I would swear you liked these thieves." "I do like a good joke," said the knight. "No offense to your lordship." The merry men laid skins upon the moss. They set up targets and had a bit of shooting practice. Robin sat with his guest and watched. He was the perfect host. He made his guests laugh and feel at home. Even the bishop felt quite comfortable. Evening fell. Alan Adele took out his harp and sang beautiful songs. Then they lit torches. Food was served. How delicious it was! And there was more than enough for everyone, even the fat bishop. After dinner, Robin told the story of Sir Richard's son, how he had accidentally killed the knight, how Sir Richard might lose everything. The men listened. Some were sad, others were angry. All of them wanted to help Sir Richard. "Maybe you could help him, Robin Hood," said the bishop. "You are the richest holy man in England." The bishop stared at the ground in shame. He knew how he earned his gold, by cheating the poor. Still, he wanted to keep it for himself. Robin asked Will Scarlet to unpack the bishop's horses. What riches! Bolts of velvet, silk, and gold and cloth. Finally, Will unpacked a very heavy metal box. "Do you have the key, Bishop?" asked Robin. The bishop shook his head. He was feeling a little sick. Robin nodded to Will Scarlet. Will drew his sword and bashed the box. It burst open. Out poured gold, lots and lots of gold. The merry men smiled and began to count the gold. More than 1,500 pieces. "Relax," Robin told the bishop. "You may keep 1/3. I will take 1/3 as payment for the meal. 1/3 will go to the needy." The bishop didn't say anything. He knew he was lucky to be keeping 1/3. Robin counted out 500 pieces and gave them to Sir Richard. "To pay off your debts, to save your castle and your lands." There were tears in the knight's eyes. "I swear I will repay you," he said, "and I will never forget your kindness." It was a far happier knight who rode out of Shorewood the next morning, and a far lighter and sadder bishop. As for Robin Hood and his merry men, it had been just another summer eve in Sherwood Forest, and a merry one at that.